Hello! Welcome to Saturday Afternoon Adventures. I'm your host, Robot Spacer.
And I'm the Stream Ghost.
Also known as Unsecret Crush. You refuse to introduce yourself properly
I'm
anymore.
the Stream Ghost.
Okay. In that case, I'm sorry for revealing your secret identity.
It's fine. As I was introducing myself as the Stream Ghost, though, I was thinking, maybe this is, weird to do when it's not Spooky Tuesday. But, I mean, whatever.
You can have daytime ghosts.
That's true.
It's normal. Hello, Lord Kittenfoot. Hello, Valis. Great to see you both. We are going to start King's Quest VI today, finally, after many delays. I spent some time earlier today doing my best to, as mentioned in the past, a lot of my old Sierra boxes went through some water damage when we had some basement flooding. Today I tried to see if any aspect of my King's Quest VI box was recoverable, and the answer is nope, not at all. I did finally start the process of photographing my boxes and then placing them in the garbage. And then I think maybe at some point I'll consider seeing if I can find replacements on eBay, just because it'd be nice to have them. I think they're fun objects. So I'm gonna share 3 different versions of this game. Obviously not all the way through or anything. The main one we're going to play is the DOS version, the CD-ROM DOS version. I spent a lot of time comparing the different options. I wanted to play the version with voices this time because there's a really great cast of Hollywood actors and such. The Mac version was floppy disk, so I still have my copy of that, but it does not have voices. And then the Windows version has, they added high-resolution portraits of all the characters, and I appreciate them, but I feel like the low-resolution portraits fit the style of the game a little better. So the DOS version has the low resolution ones. Interestingly, they did full lip syncing for both the low resolution DOS portraits and the high resolution Windows ones. So there's a ton of different variations in versions of this game. We'll get to more of that in a bit. Hello, Culinary. Hello, OK Retro Zone. Great to see you both. Hope you're doing well today. So...
Hi, everybody!
Stream Ghost says hi, everybody, if you couldn't hear. So let's start with... pop open my... photos on my iPad here. We'll switch to camera. So this is my actual copy of King's Quest VI moments before I placed it in the garbage. It honestly looks pretty good on the outside. The outer sleeve does, but it had mold on the inside, and the inner box was extremely warped and stuff. So into the garbage it goes. So this, we have in the corner here, #1 best-selling computer game series of all time. Over 1.5 million King's Quest sold. Absolutely incredible. See, our subtitle here is Heir Today, Gone Tomorrow. The heir being, of course, Prince Alexander himself, the heir to the Daventry throne, who... He's gone in this one, but we're going with him, so it's okay. Thank you for doing those shout-outs. Got all kinds of great streamers in here with us today. As you can see in the bottom corner here, Macintosh Color Max only, once again. This game was pretty similar in approach to King's Quest V. It's got like hand-painted color backgrounds. It's got character art that is like they filmed live actors and then like did, you know, rotoscoping kind of techniques to hand draw the animation based on that footage. Here's the side of the box with some nice screenshots of what's to come here. Obviously, I've played this game before since I have a copy of it. I have not played it in a very long time. So, like, I remember all these images very well, but I remember very little of the context.
I don't think...
Opposite side, you can see this requires a 8-bit 256 color screen, a hard disk with 25 megabytes available.
Oh, wow.
A super drive, which I believe is what they called a floppy disk drive that could read like the high density disks. Funny enough, they later used super drive for at least one other thing. I was
gonna say the external disk drive that you have.
Yeah, I have a super drive that's like an external CD-ROM drive. Required 4 megabytes of RAM and System 7.0 or later. So pretty serious requirements.
I was going to say, I have some vague memories of this game myself, but I don't think my copy came with a box because I'm 99% sure it came with a computer that we bought.
That's fascinating.
At some point.
Here's the back of the box. Lots of great info here. An adventure so vast you may never experience it all. Continue the quest. That's at the top here. An interesting, like... As far as I can tell, like a big marketing selling point of this game was that it, like there's so much stuff and a lot of it's optional. It's a little bit of a open world approach. You can do things in a more, you know, whatever order you want. You don't have to go through it all in the same order.
Everything was open world.
Right. So like a big selling point was like there's just so much stuff, like you could miss a lot of it and you may never see it all. So the text reads, enter an enchanted world that has thrilled millions of people all over the world. Explore the largest, richest, most puzzling, and most exciting chapter of the best-selling series in the history of computer gaming. A shipwrecked prince must find his way across a series of islands in search of a princess in peril. You'll need all your wits and imagination to overcome the gauntlet of baffling puzzles and fantastic creatures that block you on your quest. In this richly detailed game of discovery and adventure, every choice you make can affect your future options and the attitudes of many characters you'll encounter. Depending on your skill and the paths you follow, your adventure can end in many different ways. Nearly half of the possible events are optional. Filled with deeper puzzles, more fantastic creatures, and a moving saga of romance and adventure, King's Quest VI is a mysterious and magical adventure for the entire family. Features. More flexible game design allows you to overcome obstacles in almost any order. More puzzles and greater variety of challenges than any King's Quest episode. Multiple paths and different endings. Nearly half of the game action is optional. A cast of costumed, video-captured live actors brings the adventure to life, and over 2 hours of original music. We have some more screenshots here. Encounter unique characters like the battling chess queens. Help Prince Alexander rescue a kidnapped princess. Explore strange, wonderful, and often dangerous worlds. And match wits with foes bent on the prince's destruction. And of course, in the middle here, we have Roberta Williams, the designer of the popular King's Quest series, has won many awards for her work. Her numerous contributions to the software industry have earned her the title, the reigning queen of adventure gaming.
Long live the queen. What year did this come out?
I was just about to get to that.
Okay.
Let me pop open my notes here. So interestingly, the box kind of only mentions Roberta Williams, but this is actually the first game where we have two writers and designers, not just Roberta Williams, but also Jane Jensen. If you've been watching my Tuesday streams, you may recognize the name because she is the writer and creator of the Gabriel Knight series. This game was actually her first designer credit, came out in 1992, and the Gabriel Knight series, the first game came out in 1993. We also have, along with Jane Jensen and Roberta Williams, William D. Skirvin also has a director credit on this one, and he is the art designer for the game. And then a year after the original floppy disk version came out, there was a CD-ROM release with the fully voiced version, had the entire version of the lovely end theme, Girl in the Tower. And as I mentioned, the Windows version had high-resolution portraits and stuff like that. Did Crown Royal Canadian Rye just rip off this design or vice versa? That's very interesting. I do not know the answer to that question. And I'm also very curious what their design looks like. Roberta said she's making a new game, right? I wonder what 30 years of game design will bring to the genre. So, yes, Ken and Roberta Williams are working on a 3D graphical adventure, also a VR version of Colossal Cave Adventure, which is an older game. It was originally a text adventure game that was a big part of what inspired Roberta Williams to start making games. Apparently what happened with that is Ken Williams just kind of got bored during the whole COVID pandemic experience, and it just wanted something to work on. He got the idea to do a 3D Colossal Cave game from Roberta. For a while, she wasn't super involved with it, but it sounds like she's getting more involved now and working more directly on it. So that should be really interesting to see what that's like. It sounds like it's a pretty small team. I know there's Ken Williams is doing programming. They also have another, I want to say another programmer and another person doing art on it. So yeah, it should be exciting to see what that's like. Hey, David Alexander, good to see you. I was a little disappointed as VR and Oculus. Yeah, but there is. It's not going to require that. As far as I understand, you'll be able to play it on a normal computer. I think there was also mention of probably a Mac version, but I don't know if any of that is set in stone. But I think you'll be able to play it on any Windows computer with decent specs, from what I understand. So back to King's Quest 6. Checking my notes here. I mentioned a lot of this stuff already. One funny thing I came across regarding the most of the music in this one is by Chris Brayman. Mark Siebert did the Girl in the Tower end credits theme with lyrics by Jane Jensen. And Sierra was really proud of this lovely ballad they had created, and they sent copies of CDs to a ton of different radio stations. And then in the box, they included a pamphlet, which I found a PDF of. And it says at the top here, The following radio stations have received a copy of Girl in the Tower, the love song from King's Quest VI by Sierra Online. We have provided the station's request line number where it is available. So this is a list of all these stations they sent a copy of the CD to, organized by state, and like they're encouraging all the people that bought the game to call up these stations and ask them to play the song. And Ken Williams later said that this made a lot of radio stations very unhappy because they got so many requests to play the songs, and they were calling to complain to him, sometimes even sending legal threats his way.
Oh no.
Let's see. Also interesting here, they outsourced the opening animation, which has some fancy CG work in it, to Kronos Digital Entertainment. A person named Stanley Liu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kronos did special effects for movies like Batman Returns and The Lawnmower Man. So big time Hollywood stuff here. The game had an estimated budget of $700,000, which is interesting because
That seems so low.
I mentioned King's Quest V had a budget of around $1 million.
Yeah.
And this is like a lot more, like overall a lot more involved. I assume a lot of the cost of King's Quest V, you know, like that was like their first big point and click game. You know, I'm sure they had to like come up with a lot of new processes and technology to do the, you know, hand painted backgrounds and the rotoscoped animation and stuff like that. So I assume, you know, they had figured out a lot of stuff which helped make this game a little bit easier. We have a wonderful cast in this game. We have Robby Benson as Prince Alexander. You may know Robby Benson from Beauty and the Beast. He was the Beast. Also, he was apparently a teen heartthrob, and has just been in a whole bunch of other movies and stuff. We have Stevie Valance as Princess Cassima. I recently found out it's, I think, Cassima, and not Cassima, which is what I always said in my head and was saying when I, you know, was reading dialogue from the previous game.
Yeah, that would have been my first guess too.
I did not ever watch Reboot, but if you did play Reboot, she was the character Mouse in that. We have Bill Ratner as the narrator, who you may know as Ambassador Udina from Mass Effect, which is interesting. I never played the voiced version of this, and like the narrator just gave me kind of a vibe that I wasn't super into, and it made so much sense once I learned that this was Ambassador Udina's voice.
I'm looking up the character of Mouse from Reboot, and I do not remember this character at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a smaller character. She also was some raccoon character.
Okay. In what?
Also in Reboot.
Also in Reboot.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't think that they would have had raccoons in Reboot. They were computer people.
Yeah, like I looked it up and it sounded like this is like a character from a game on the like, again, I've never seen Reboots, and like, you know, maybe these are small parts. Val says, I feel like Mouse only showed up in a few episodes. Yeah,
like I know there was like the first season or something like that, first some number of seasons, where like the main character was Bob, and then Enzo was just this like little kid sidekick type character, and then at some point there was a time skip, and then suddenly Enzo was hot and much older, and Bob was like an old man. So maybe Mouse showed up in one of those latter seasons that I don't think I watched as closely as the original seasons.
We also have Townsend Coleman, The Tick, and Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I did not know that was the same person. We have Tony Jay, who played Megabyte in Reboot. And Silver will appreciate this, I'm sure knows the name, Elder God in Legacy of Kain. We have Don Messick, who played a whole bunch of well-known characters, including Scooby-Doo and Papa Smurf. Russi Taylor, who was Minnie Mouse for 33 years. She passed away, I think, just a few years ago. I feel like this is a fact I heard at some point, but her Wikipedia page pointed out that she was married to the voice of Mickey Mouse for a long time until he passed away. And then a very interesting return from the previous game. We once again have Josh Mandel as King Graham, and he also voices several other characters. I thought it was interesting that they... as I mentioned, the King's Quest V voiced version was voiced by just people that worked at Sierra, not professional voice actors. But definitely he did a good job as King Graham. I still haven't played the game all the way through with voices, but his parts seemed well done. So they brought him back. So I think that's all the little info I wanted to share. I think we can get into. I have some fun news and or bad news, depending on how you feel about this. We're gonna play a little bit of the 3 versions of the game I have, which I think it'll be fun.
We're just gonna watch the intro movie, or we're gonna actually play.
We're gonna watch the intro movie because there's very unusual to me differences between all of them.
What'd you do?
I was trying to... We'll skip this and come back to it. I was trying to make everything a little bigger, although I don't think the logo actually gets bigger. So this is the Mac version, the version I grew up playing. And we'll hide the desktop here. And then we'll watch this intro, and then I'll talk a little bit more about differences between the different games. Opening, that's what I want. So this one has this interesting, and they didn't do it for that one for some reason, but there's this morphing between screens of text for some reason in a lot of cases. Since it was a floppy disk, our video is very tiny and super compressed.
I don't care.
There's that weird text morphing. Yeah, and this sounds not great.
I'm just gonna pop my headphone out for a minute here.
Tinnitus is all the rage. It's interesting because this is... For some reason, this version has more of the animated stuff than the DOS version has, but then the DOS CD-ROM version, has voiceover and stuff. It's just, I'd love to know more about, the technical decisions that, resulted in all these differences. From what I understand, literally every version of the game has something different about the intro. I think we'll go ahead and stop there. We won't quite watch it all the way through. Because the rest of it is pretty similar. It kind of gives you the idea of the differences. So then I just want to show a little bit of the beginning of the game. So one interesting thing about the Mac version is we have our icons at the bottom of the screen here, and this bar is always visible. I'm kind of curious why they put the bar in the bottom of this version. I feel like it was probably just because, you know, you have, I clicked out of it, because we have, you know, menu bar and stuff up here, so they didn't want to have those kind of clashing with each other. But honestly, like, you tend to click more in the lower half of the screen because, you know, this is all like generally more sky and stuff up here, so I feel like it works a little better. You can also see we have a little bit more Mac style, smaller black and white cursors here. And then we have the low res original portraits along with higher resolution serif font for the text. Since we'll be going through this later, I won't bother to read it all. So, that's the Mac version. Also kind of interesting here, for whatever reason, they just have yes or no buttons. In the other versions of the game, they have a weird, like, jokey button text for each of these. I don't know why. I don't know why they, you know, didn't do that in the Mac version. Okay, so next, give me a second here, and we'll fire up the Windows version. Fancy animated Sierra logo. This is like overall kind of the fanciest version. Although interestingly, the
castle of a kingdom called Devontree.
The movie still plays in a tiny box.
Alexander, here you are. Oh, you're still not thinking about Cosima, are you?
I suppose I am.
Son, it's been months. You've got to pull yourself together. After all, you only met her that once.
I know.
Have you discovered anything about the land of the Green Isles?
No. No one's even heard of it. It's like she's just vanished.
I wish I could help. Please try to think about something else, dear.
I'll try, Mother.
This weird effect on her voice.
I feel so alone. I don't know what to do. Alexander, I wish you were here. Alexander, Alexander, Alexander.
Cosima, wait! Mother! Mother, come quick!
Alexander, what on earth? You're white as a ghost.
Mother, I saw Cosima. She was in the mirror.
In the mirror? The magic mirror?
Yes!
What other mirror do we have, Mother?
Find her.
How?
The stars! I saw the stars outside her window. I can navigate by the stars.
Oh, Alexander, if you really go...
It will be all right, Mother. I promise.
Alexander sailed the known seas and beyond.
For some reason, the Daventry Royal Navy is just a bunch of like cartoon pirate dudes. I don't know what's going on there.
As the ship nears the shore, day turns to night and the sea turns violent.
We have this lovely 3D animated King's Quest text. I believe that is only in the Windows version. Like it's interesting the differences between this and the DOS CD-ROM version, which you know is also on a CD-ROM, so they had plenty of space. I don't know if like you know they are different because of like you know maybe it needs to run on a computer with lower specs for the DOS version or what.
For a moment, he is too dazed to remember how he got here. Then, he does remember. The shipwreck. The sea. Just as he had seen his men safely into the lifeboats, a gigantic wave picked him up and tossed him overboard into the churning sea. That was the... He can only hope...
Okay. So we got Windows cursors in this one. A little bit similar to the Mac cursors. We got a higher resolution icon bar up here. The text King's Quest in here is higher resolution, but not the rest of this menu. And then the biggest difference in this version is the portraits, which I'll show some of those.
Old lamps for new. Old lamps for new.
Good day, peddler.
Good day, sir. If you would like to get one of my fine new lamps, I'll need an old lamp in trade.
Isn't it a rather bad business? Taking old lamps and giving new lamps in exchange?
Well, there's always a chance that I'll find a genie. If I had a genie, I'd be richer than a king. Besides, there's always a roaring business in antique luminaries.
Which version did you say this is?
This is the Windows version.
This has to be the version that I had.
Okay.
Because
This is, I'm guessing, the version most people played.
every little bit of that little dialogue exchange is like seared into my memory.
So that's the Windows version. And again, like, this is kind of arguably the best version. But I like...
That's not the one we're gonna play.
I like the low-res portraits, so that's why we're gonna go with the DOS version. And that's kind of the main difference. The intro is a little more cinematic in this one. For some reason, there's no narrator voiceover for the intro in the DOS version. There is a narrator throughout the rest of the game.
Taking off your adventurer's cap.
Yeah, so here's these You can choose yes, I've had it, or no, I must quest on. I've had it, sorry. So, up next is the DOS version, which is the one we're actually going to play, and then we'll start playing. So no fancy logo in this one, but the music sounds better because it's our Roland MT32 emulator instead of the overcompressed WAV file that's in the Windows version. So here we have these little borders on the image, and interestingly, everything is full screen in this one, but there's a lot less animation overall. And again, the narrator voice is missing.
Alexander, here you are. Oh, you're still not thinking about Cosima, are you?
I suppose I am.
Son, it's been months. You've got to pull yourself together. After all, you only met her that once.
I know.
Have you discovered anything about the land of the Green Isles?
No. No one's even heard of it. It's like she's just vanished.
I wish I could help. Please try to think about something else, dear.
I'll try, Mother.
Please stop obsessing over the girl you met for like 5 minutes months ago. Didn't notice before, but the bad noise isn't quite as bad in this one. And then, interestingly, there's no weird effect on Cosima's voice.
Huh.
Alexander, I feel so alone. I don't know what to do. Alexander, I wish you were here.
Cosima! Wait! Mother! Mother, come quick!
Alexander, what on earth? You're white as a ghost.
Mother, I saw Cosima. She was in the mirror.
In the mirror? The magic mirror?
Yes! And it showed me how to find her.
How?
The stars! I saw the stars outside her window. I can navigate by the stars.
Oh, Alexander, if you really go...
It will be all right, Mother. I promise.
And like, since there's less animation in this one, they didn't have to compress the hell out of it like they did with the other one, so it looks a lot nicer.
Land ho! Land ho! Land ho!
Everything seems so peaceful for a moment. And then everyone died at the end. No fancy 3D logo in this one, but I think that's pretty nice. We'll watch the full credits this time. I drew a starting square on my paper here, and I already regret where I put it. So I'm gonna start over.
Goodbye, piece of paper.
Got more room over here. Hey, T-Pat. Good to see you.
Alexander awakens to find himself on an unfamiliar beach. For a moment, he is too dazed to remember how he got here. Then, he does remember. The shipwreck, the sea. Just as he had seen his men safely into the lifeboats, a gigantic wave picked him up and tossed him overboard into the churning sea. That was the last he'd seen of his crew, Debris from the shipwreck is scattered along the shore, but of the lifeboats and his men, there is thankfully no trace. He can only hope and pray that the lifeboats survived the currents, and that his men made their way safely back to Daventry.
On lifeboat? Like, I don't... like, I appreciate the optimism of...
Probably.
There's no dead bodies, so they could be fine. But, like, again, we spent months traveling here. I don't think they made it back to Daventry on the lifeboats. But I guess we can just hope for the best. We have these weird kind of like gummy cursors in this one. I don't know what they were going for with this visual style. It seems a little bit at odds with the rest of the look of the game, if you ask me, but you know. And I don't know what kind of walk this cursor's doing. It's interesting. But let me draw this starting square here. We have a couple of things to pick up here. What's this shiny?
Alexander picks up his royal insignia ring from the beach.
Well, that's important. Gotta be able to prove you're an important guy. And I know we also have something under here.
Alexander pushes the plank to one side. A box has been partially buried under sand.
What's in that box?
Alexander takes the coin and leaves the ruined box where it is.
Okay, I think that's everything here. Again, I have not played this game in many years. I'm very curious how much of it I'll remember. In particular, if I'll remember things any better than I did with 5. I feel like something...
Alexander examines the tree's hollow, but finds nothing of interest.
I feel like something happens with this tree eventually, but there's nothing going on there right now. It'd be hilarious if I still don't have enough room on the left side of my paper. So we have a very cool looking castle off to the right, and we have a little town off to the left. I spent a little bit of time clicking around things while I was setting up for the stream and comparing the different versions. Did not remember a lot of what we need to do, although now that I think about it, I think there's some important stuff that happens in the shops in town, and I did not go into those. Okay. Let's go this way first, just because I want to do a little poking around.
Alexander politely addresses the odd-looking guards at the castle doors, hoping to learn more about his predicament.
Good day to you, guards. I was cast upon this island in a storm, and I'm a little confused about my location. Could you tell me what place this is and who lives in this castle?
Hey, what is that you say? A castaway? A likely story. We haven't had any foreigners in this part since Alhazred arrived.
Don't be so rude, Gruff. He's not asking for any secrets. You're standing on the Isle of the Crown, lad, and this is the Castle of the Crown. The royal family resides here. Rather, what's left of the royal family.
The Isle of the Crown? But tell me, am I anywhere near the land of the Green Isles?
This is the land of the Green Isles. The Isle of the Crown is the main island, foolish boy.
Then Princess Cassima must live in this very castle.
Aye, the princess is indeed our treasured jewel to guard, and we consider it an honor.
I just remembered when they brought up the Land of the Green Isles that we did not look at our very important Land of the Green Isles guidebook yet. Okay. Okay. So this is the pretty significant booklet that comes with the game. Guidebook to the Land of the Green Isles. Turn the game down a little bit. The guidebook was written by Jane Jensen. Also, I believe Jane Jensen wrote basically all of the text and dialogue in the game. Oh gosh, so we have a foreword, section about the Land of the Green Isles, Isle of the Crown, the village, which is the area we are, the docks, the Castle of the Crown, and it seems like we have a section on all the other areas we can go to in the game. Geez, we got a section on death traditions, genies. I won't bother to read all of this right now, but we should look over the foreword here. Herein lies the account of my travels in that mysterious kingdom known as the Land of the Green Isles. Lest this record be put down to the fevered imagination of a madman or the fiction of a notorious liar, let me assure you, dear reader, that the Land of the Green Isles does indeed exist. One can hear the name of the land whispered in roadside inns off dusty roads from the hills of Daventry to the Sea of Tamar, especially on nights when the wind howls and the rain plays havoc on the window panes. The storytellers inevitably take on that same tone of voice they use when speaking of the Fairy Kingdom. I cannot vouch for the Fairy Kingdom since I have yet to get a leprechaun in a position of compromise, yet the Land of the Green Isles, that is a place where the feet of a man can find solid ground and his eyes feast on such wonders. My tale begins with a broken compass. I had taken passage on a ship bound east from Ludor. Our destination was Serenia, yet in the second week out we encountered a terrible electrical storm. Waves crashed upon the deck of our little ship, the Roundabout, and lightning struck the sea all around her. At one point, it even struck our secondary mast, and we were saved from the fiery death only by the lashing rain, which quickly put out the fire. We felt sure that we were all dead men, yet on we bailed and strove throughout the night. After long hours of the terrifying labor, we found ourselves still afloat on the other side of the storm. At first light, the damage seemed minimal, despite the lightning that had struck the ship, but by sunset the captain was forced to announce that the instruments of navigation had been magnetized by the storm. The compass spoke east, yet the sun sank low over the right of our prow. The captain did his best to sail by older methods, by the sun and the stars. He assured the voyagers that there was nothing to fear. Yet we seemed cursed, for a dense cloud cover settled over the sky far into the horizon and stayed. The roundabout sailed like a blind man groping in a vast unfamiliar room. After a week, the captain had to admit that we had missed our destination. There was no land to be seen anywhere. It was as if the storm had been another flood that had wiped civilization from the face of the earth. With naught else to do, we sailed on, by now so lost that turning around seemed futile. Who was to say that we were not turned around already? A month later, I lay in a fitful sleep on my bunk, throat parched and skin stretched from the scant provisions allotted all hands from the near-empty hold below, when I heard the cry on deck, "Land ho!" Startled from my sleep and exhilarated with hope, I sprang to the deck. The sky had cleared, and its blue seemed a hue I had never seen. A sailor was wildly pointing off to the prow where the bright green of a small body of land was dimly visible. The roundabout responded as though leaping from the sea towards that remote shore. Yet within the hour, the curse upon our ship took its final vengeance. As though enraged to see us within view of escape, the sea came alive and swirled around us. Currents and whirlpools materialized and sucked at the beaten planks of the ship, turning her first one way and then another. I was thrown against the deck and rolled uncontrollably against the cables and the lifeboats. The last thing I heard before my head struck and blackness descended was the mate screaming, "She's going down!" Who can judge Providence? I am not a hero. I am a wanderer. Neither as strong nor as brave as the captain of that good ship. Yet with no effort on my part, none greater in any event than the skill of getting myself knocked on the head, I awoke the following morning, not among the bones at the bottom of the sea, but on a beach. Of the crew and passengers of the good ship there was not a trace. Perhaps I was chosen for some destiny here. Perhaps the sea simply found me too sour an old dog for the swallowing. In any case, that is the tale of how I found the land of the Green Isles, or should I say, how it found me. Being but a poor traveler with feet that itch and a spirit that cannot rest, I have naught to leave this world but a record of the things these eyes have seen. Being not nearly as clever as a balladeer, I set this down in humble prose. May this account someday find its way back to the land of my youth, though I fear I myself shall die on this distant shore. Derek Karlavagen. So that name is interesting because... One moment. I meant to have this ready. So I've shown this before, The King's Quest Companion by Peter Spear. A thing I did not talk about before is that this book is written from what I recall, it's basically written as though Derek Karlavagen is relaying these stories of the world of Daventry to our world, the real world, as though this is a real place that exists somewhere. So here, this page says, "The world of Daventry, compiled from messages to this world from the world of Daventry, is sent by Derek Karlavagen." So, like, this character was made up for the King's Quest Companion, but in King's Quest VI, it basically becomes canon through this guidebook to the land of the Green Isles, that this is a real person in this world that has been able to share stories with our world. So it's interesting to have that come together. So I think what we'll do here is we'll kind of read a bit of this as we get to the relevant part of the game. So we'll continue on to part 1, the Land of the Green Isles, since we are here now. The Land of the Green Isles is an ancient kingdom ruled by a royal family designated simply as the Crown. Its location so far from the rest of the known world, combined with the dangers of the surrounding sea, have effectively isolated it from the influence of other lands. This small kingdom might as well exist on a distant star as on the other side of an inhospitable sea. Because of this isolation, the citizens of the kingdom have a unique flavor and a quaint naivete. If one asks about the history of the land, they are eager to speak. Yet of true answers, little can be found. They can recite the names of the holders of the crown spanning back hundreds of years, can speak of each dwelling's origin, of practically every citizen's lineage, yet when I asked how the kingdom began, bewilderment is the response. The kingdom has always been, they say. There has always been a royal family. It is as if this place has existed unaltered since the dawn of time. But there is some basis for a different picture, that these islands have actually held a succession of kingdoms, each bleeding into the next, new civilizations building on ruins scarcely cold. I base this opinion on the traces of legends of an ancient civilization to be found at one of the islands, but more of that later. The kingdom as it stands today has remained relatively unchanged for hundreds of years. 4 islands make up the bulk of the land. The Isle of the Crown is the center of the kingdom. There, on a magnificent rise, stands the Castle of the Crown, the seat of the royal family of the kingdom and the heart of the land. A village and docks comprise the rest of the island and run most of the kingdom's daily commerce, such as it is. Across a short distance of sea is the Isle of Wonder, an aptly named place of sheer delight ruled by a pair of rival queens who are, despite their own internal strife, unalterably loyal to the crown. The Isle of the Beasts is the least hospitable of the islands. Seemingly deserted, I did not see much of the place since obstacles made it impossible to travel far inland. Nevertheless, the place has its own history and is listed among the kingdom's holdings. Nice illustration here. The 4th island is the Isle of the Sacred Mountain, so called for the soaring peak that rises from the base of the island into the clouds, and around which that community, both literally and philosophically, is built. The Isle of the Sacred Mountain has its own rulers who are also subservient to the crown. A more dissimilar set of cultures can scarce be imagined than those on these 4 islands, yet they seem to exist in harmony and function as a whole. The uniting factor is the crown, which maintains loyalty by both by means of its undisputed heritage as seat of all government, and by the grace of its goodly royal family. Peace has reigned for centuries in this idyllic kingdom and seems likely to continue. That is, as long as the land remains hidden from the evil that we know exists in the world. Though I am a stranger here, I hope not to influence this place overly much. Who would wish to change such a paradise? Part 2, the Isle of the Crown. Of the 4 islands, the Isle of the Crown is the one which will seem the most conventional to travelers from distant lands. It is largely inhabited by members of the human race, men and women of pleasant disposition and generous hospitality. As stated earlier, the Isle of the Crown is comprised of the Castle of the Crown, a quaint village, and the docks from which travel among the islands is commenced. Good to know. The village on the Isle of the Crowns is a small one. Its stucco walls gleam in the hot sun, its dirt paths are clean and well maintained, its vegetation is lush. The shop merchants are friendly and seem to delight in the unusual trades. Though little of mine survived the shipwreck, the few trinkets that I'd had on my person or managed to salvage from the shore were deemed unusual enough that in that distant realm to obtain a few necessities. I also found the villagers eager to share what they had in return for honest work, so I've survived quite comfortably here. And I can't help but feel like this is actually giving us fairly specific hints, obviously, this is telling the story of a completely different character than who we're playing as, but went through a similar situation. And, they point out, things on the shore of the shipwreck and being able to sell them in town. So perhaps that's something we need to do. Village life is one of cheerful routine. The villagers rise at first light to do their chores before the tropical sun reaches its peak. Then a light midday meal is served. The bulk of the afternoon is reserved for indoor activities, reading and scholastics for the younger population, and naps for their elders. Everyone seems to prize this quiet time. When the sun goes down, communal activities are frequent. If there are no weddings or other festivities, I must admit that I am quite fond of these local celebrations. The families often gather informally for a plain but plentiful supper, music, and conversation. Though most families are modest, none are in want. Servants are used in the more affluent households, but most of the citizens cheerfully rely on their own strong hands for the work of daily life. What serving class exists is generally well treated, though even in this gentle civilization, I did note a few exceptions. The docks. Beyond the village lie the docks, a place of bustle and excitement. Even the humblest citizen of the Isle of the Crown frequently enjoys visiting the other islands in the kingdom. In return, it is not uncommon to see all manner of strange creatures frequenting the village shops from the kingdom's other island. All travel between the islands is focused at the docks and indeed at a single vessel. That vessel is simply called the Ferry, and it is a pleasant enough little ship, well maintained as befits its value to the kingdom. The ferryman is a jolly fellow, patient even with the youngest of his passengers. His young son helps manage the vessel and keep her ship shape. The story of the ferry is an interesting one, particularly if you recall the fate of my own ship. The islands, it seems, have always been surrounded by terrible eddies and currents that make seagoing nearly impossible. The family that runs the ferry has done so for generations, each farther passing on to his son the secret of the tricky navigation. Many believe that the ferryman's family line has an uncanny instinct for the sea around the isles. It is said that they sail by the blood in their veins. One thing is certain, I would not venture to sail a ship in these waters, so whatever the secrets of the ferryman's family, thank the stars for it. Nice picture of the dock here at night. Castle of the Crown. The Castle of the Crown is a stunning palace, giving testimony to the skill of the kingdom's architects and the richness of its treasury. The castle is a monument of marble, gold, and precious gems, with tall arched ceilings and artistic fittings. I am told that it was built 100 years ago by King Elithid as a present to his bride, Queen Astar. The previous castle, also called the Castle of the Crown, was large and drafty and had served as the seat of the royal family for over 300 years. It is said that King Elithid was cautious over his new bride's fragile health and built the new palace with thick walls for protection from the high winds and cool hallways for respite from the blazing tropical sun. The castle is made even more exotic by the race of guard dogs that serve and protect the palace. These wondrous creatures seem to combine the best qualities of canine and human. Speaking in gruff voices and armed with swords or pikes, the guard dogs are strong and intelligent and have loyally served the crown through the centuries. Despite my status as a stranger, I was granted a visit with the reigning king and queen. Their openness and accessibility, added to the lack of drawbridges, moats, or battlements of any kind, made clear to me the innocence of this kingdom that had never known war or treachery. Had I been a viper in disguise, I would have been granted an intimate audience just as readily. As a citizen of the larger, more dangerous world, it made me feel a little nervous and honor-bound not to betray such trust in me. I met the king and queen in the castle's throne room. The throne room is a vast hall more ornate than anything these poor eyes have ever seen. Standing before the two thrones in that cavern of gold, I felt as though I stood before fabled Olympus itself. Yet raising my eyes up slowly to those noble faces, I saw nothing of judgment in their eyes, nothing of disdain. Indeed, their faces were full of guileless welcome and kindness. As for the rulers of this kingdom themselves, King Caliphim, though not a large man, has an air of strength and self-assurance about him. He has the face of a scholar and the eyes of a gentle benefactor. Of Queen Ilaria, his beautiful wife, my first impressions was of hair the color of night and skin as pale as dawn. She smiled at me graciously, and I could see the sadness there, for despite the glory of the palace around them, the hall seemed to weigh on the couple with their emptiness. They are the last of the royal family, and growing into middle age, have yet to produce an heir. The king and queen listened with interest to my tale of shipwreck. King Khalifim asked astute questions of my homeland and the lands of my travel. He seemed to know something of other lands, perhaps from the same source that has brought the name of the lands of the Green Isles to Daventry. He was most curious, and as a thinker, seemed intrigued by any new idea I might offer. Unfortunately for him, my ideas on such things as kingdoms and civilizations were rather simple ones. I sensed that, despite his interest, he would be content to have those other kingdoms remain remote from his own. Neither hungry for conquest nor anxious for change, his kingdom would remain isolated. Indeed, except for the lack of an heir, it seemed the good king and queen did provide the kingdom with all it could ever desire. Having met the royal couple and recovered sufficiently from my ordeal at sea, I began to feel quite curious about the other islands in the kingdom, and so I put my itching feet in the care of the jolly ferryman. Okay, we'll stop reading there until we get to a different island. Here is a nice illustration of the Isle of Wonder. I need a drink of water. Okay. These guard dogs are not so inviting to me. That's an interesting difference here.
Excuse me, guardsman. Guard dogs. I've been traveling for months to see Princess Cassima. I would like an audience, please.
I'm sorry, but the princess is not receiving visitors, particularly not strangers.
So, I guess we'll have to convince them to let us in one way or another. Let's see what's over this way. Trying.
You seem to have a hard time with exiting edges.
It's hard. Honestly, I missed the Mac versions let you double click on the side to go to the next screen, which makes it a lot easier. Hello, Hinton. Good day to kings, quester, and dogs alike. Yes, indeed. Hope you are doing well today.
So, you were reading that, was it the Guide to the Green Isles? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
I was up and down doing household things, so I didn't hear all of it, but did you say that there were, like, hints in there of things that you could do or should do?
Yeah, like, I felt like it was written in a way as to give you some subtle direction if you need it. You know, nothing too obvious, but, like, you know, there was mention that he had he had found some of his belongings on the shore and was able to sell some at the shops in town.
Right.
So, you know, it's pointing out that, you know, you want to check the shore for things you might have lost. And I'm assuming, like, I think we got a coin and our ring.
Alexander's ring is made of the purest gold and has the insignia of the royal family of Daventry on its face.
I assume we don't want to sell the ring, but we do have a coin, which we could obviously use to purchase something somewhere.
Alexander is carrying a copper coin of Daventry. King Graham graces the front of the coin.
I don't know how far a Daventry coin will get us in a place that has barely heard of Daventry, but...
Sure. You could perhaps sell it as a curiosity. Anyway, I was asking about the booklet because I am positive that the version of this game that I had, as I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure it came as a pack-in with a computer that we bought that had a CD drive.
Right.
It only had a jewel case. I don't know that it had any sort of extensive manual or additional supplemental booklet materials.
Right.
And I wonder if that had anything at all to do with how I never finished it and became very stuck. Probably not that far into it.
That is interesting.
But I mean, if the hints were mainly like basic stuff, like you can pick up your belongings on the beach and maybe sell them in town, like I didn't get hung up that early.
Yeah, like in general, I don't think the manuals are required for these games.
Right.
Like I think they're mainly there to, like, you know, these days, like the kind of stuff that's in the manuals is, in game. You can find books in the game or, pieces of paper and, read them to give you some lore to kind of fill out the background and help you build up this world in your head.
Right.
So it's mainly for that, but then also, just to help give you a little direction if you need it. So there's some interesting vines here.
I was gonna say there's some
The vines are too
there.
flimsy to support Alexander.
Unfortunately, we cannot climb them. Oh, these, I think this is just a little, animation to help the place feel more alive.
It's not trying to catch your attention.
There's lots of, foliage like that that's kind of blowing in the wind.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's all that is. I know we can't go this way.
The narrow path ends abruptly at a pile of boulders.
Although I said the guidebook wasn't necessary, but that's not true. It does also serve as copy protection at some point. But surely you would have had that info if you had a copy of the game.
It was a jewel case.
I would think, at least they would have put that vital info in the booklet or something.
You would think. I'm working off extremely vague memories.
Yeah.
If it didn't come with the computer that we bought, my dad might have bought it from the bargain bin after we got the computer with the disk drive.
Right.
Because he remembered that I liked King Quest 4.
Alright, let's head into town now. Also, I'm gonna bump up the speed a little bit. All the way up is too fast, but I think about here is pretty good. Well, I meant to post this little King Graham hype emote when we got going. Also,
Lamps for new. Oh, lamps for new.
This game is available on GOG. They have all of the King's Quest games there available for relatively inexpensive prices. I think they have them kind of in groups of 3 games.
Oh, lamps for new.
And aside from...
For new.
Excuse me, sir. Aside from Mask of Eternity, they all work in Scum VM as well. If you buy them from GOG, you kind of need to install them in Windows first. Sir, I'm well aware of your lamp situation. Hey, Celtic Delta, thanks so much for that subscription. Great to see you. We're doing pretty good. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Also, hello 67.
Lamps for new.
Buddy.
Oh, lamps for new.
Have you heard that this man will offer old lamps for new?
The pole of lamps is peculiarly silent.
Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Let's open this real quick. That'll probably keep him from talking.
Hey, Afton, sometimes, as you say, sometimes people gotta know about lamps.
That is true. 67 said, I never got around to playing through this one, but I experienced it via a King's Quest clue guide / novelization book I had growing up. Was it perhaps the King's Quest Companion? This is how I experienced King's Quest 4, which it's pretty much how you described. It's got a novelization of each of the games, and also basically a walkthrough of each of the games as well. Nice. It's a great book, and I'm glad I still have it. Yeah, I treated this book very well because I loved it so much.
It's in such good condition because it was not in the same box as all of our computer games that were directly touching Gross basement water.
Like, honestly, like, I'm generally pretty careful with books, but, like, you know, I had this when I was a fair bit younger, so I'm surprised it's not a little more beat up. That man burst through the settings menu screaming old lamps. I'm a little surprised he doesn't, to be honest. Alright, let's talk to this guy.
Old lamps for new. Old lamps for new.
We've been over this.
Good day, peddler.
Good day, sir. If you would like to get one of my fine new lamps, I'll need an old lamp in trade.
Isn't it a rather bad business? Taking old lamps and giving new lamps in exchange?
Well, there's always a chance that I'll find a genie. If I had a genie, I'd be richer than a king. Besides, there's always a roaring business in antique luminaries.
What I want to know is, like, surely... Well, I guess genies, like, they'll give each individual owner 3 wishes, right?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, if somebody is giving him an old lamp, and also, like, he's willing to give up the knowledge that genies are a thing to any potential customers. So, like, surely anybody's gonna check for a genie before they give a lamp. That's all I'm saying. And even if they've used all their wishes, surely they would demand a higher price, having a confirmed genie lamp. I don't know. Something just doesn't add up here is all I'm saying. I kind of ran out of room, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. So we don't have any lamps. Let's see if he'll take a coin.
Would you accept this in exchange for one of your lamps, peddler?
I am only interested in old lamps, son. Sorry.
Extracted the King's Quest V and King's Quest VI audio files and found a lot of interesting ones they think may not be used. Interesting. What would be your 3 wishes? Ooh boy, I do not know. I don't know if I would want. I would be like, I don't need this. This is too stressful. Like, I feel like the odds of screwing up and like regretting your wish.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta be careful you're not doing like a monkey's paw situation.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we've all seen Aladdin, right? Things can go real wrong real fast. There's one where Alexander yells at the boiling lake and demands to pass. Interesting. Where shall we go next? Let's go in the pawn shop. Also, let's save real quick. Thanks so much for that follow. Welcome. I guess I missed. Huh.
Old lamps for new.
Oh, got a little
Old lamps for new.
visual quirk there. I guess I need to use the hand icon on the door to go in.
I wish I knew what the perfect wish was, would be my first one.
Towering mightily over the other pawn shop curiosities, the stuffed bear makes an ostentatious display.
I like Hinton's confidence. Oh boy, I would squander my 3 wishes with no thought. It's good to know oneself in this way.
Yes.
The pawn shop is a dimly lit place with a slightly
This
musty
looks
smell.
familiar, the screen.
Curiosities litter every corner and every shelf.
Looks
For sale
curiosities.
are articles that range from the bizarre to the commonplace, from the priceless to the practical.
Looks fairly well lit to me. Got some natural sunlight coming in here. These the wings are fascinating. You think we can buy those? There's lots of items on the desk here that look like things we could probably buy. Let's say hello.
Good day, merchant. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I can tell you she is in a dark time. Without the ferry, communication between the islands has ground to a halt, and so nearly has my business. Why the long ages of peace have ended, and why the crown has not done something about it is beyond me. But then, I am a shopkeeper, not a politician, and can only hope for better days.
So it sounds like some time has passed since when Derek Karlovagen was here and when we arrived. Things have gone not so great.
How bide you, good merchant?
Quite well, though a purchase would not hurt me any.
How do we learn what you have for sale?
The pawn shop's counter is made of a sturdy teak. The wood is well worn by eager hands and well oiled by the shop's faithful keeper.
Yeah, but what are these things on here?
The pawn shop's counter is made of a sturdy teak.
I don't know which point on this icon is the click-in point.
Alexander takes a closer look at the items on the counter.
Okay. Oh, there we go. It seems like the left...
The pawn shop's counter displays items of interest.
I see you have noticed my mechanical nightingale. She is made of plain tin, but she sings the sweetest song you can imagine, barely distinguishable from the real thing.
Okay. I'm just gonna write down what all we have here. Village shop. We have mechanical nightingale. I'm guessing we're gonna need all these at some point.
The flute is only made of plain wood, but its notes are fine and true. Ah, yes, the painter's brush. It was well used by one of the island's best painters. There's a lot of creativity in that brush, and its bristles are still in good condition. Have you an interest in tinder boxes? This one is only slightly battered. It holds a good supply of flint, a sturdy striking pad, and even a candle in case you find yourself with naught else to hold the flame.
Okay. All useful items. I don't actually want to spend my coin yet, but I do want to see if we can.
The pawn shop is already filled with curious things. Alexander would prefer not to leave his possessions behind unless he can make a good trade with the pawn shop owner.
Okay. Do I need to...
Alexander takes a closer look at the...
Okay. How do I make
I'm
the
interested
purchase?
in that mechanical nightingale on the counter.
What do you desire to give me in trade? The items on the front counter are all of equally slight value, worth only a copper or two. They are handy items nonetheless.
Okay. So I guess I just give him the coin?
I have this copper coin. Is it of any value to you at all?
Most interesting. I have never seen a Daventry coin before, but it is copper genuine enough. I might even find a buyer who is interested in foreign currency.
It's got my dad on it.
The items on the front counter are the only things in the store that I can let go for the price of 1 copper. You may make your choice from there.
Okay.
Alexander looks at the items on the counter to make his selection.
So I can buy any of these for 1 copper coin. And this kind of a guess / remembering, but I kind of feel like maybe we can like buy one and then use it and then trade it for a different one.
Interesting.
I'm really not interested in anything on the counter at this time.
As you wish. Here is your coin back.
So we're going to keep our coin for now until we have a specific need for any of those. I think that's a better way to go. Let's check out the bookstore.
Hello. I will be right up. Now, what can I do for you?
Looking kind of suspicious, huh?
What, the person in the all-black robe?
Yeah. Like, it's hot here. Just say.
An old man occasionally steals sidelong glances at Alexander from under a concealing hood.
Yeah, that's an evil dude.
The bookshop owner is a thin, middle-aged man. His intelligent eyes are slightly blurry from long nights spent reading by candlelight.
All right. Can we talk to this guy? He's not going to talk to us.
Good day, sir.
The mysterious old man just ignores Alexander.
He's super evil.
Good day, sir. I'm a stranger in this land. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
That is quite a question, young man. Who are you, and what would you have me tell you?
My name is Alexander. I know I'm on the Isle of the Crown, but I'd like to know whatever you can tell me about this island, and if there are other islands nearby.
You are indeed a stranger. Anxious is the man who knows not the customs of the land beneath his feet. This island is called the Isle of the Crown, because the royal family's castle is here. Besides the castle, we also have this village, and the docks over to the west. There are at least 3 other islands. The Isle of the Sacred Mountain, the Isle of the Beast, and the Isle of Wonder.
At least 3? Does no one know for certain?
This is no ordinary land, Alexander. The land of the Green Isles has always been a place of vague boundaries, as if islands come and go.
Spooky.
Legend speaks of a 4th island, an isle shrouded in mists. I myself have never seen it. Then, too, the land of the Green Isles is said to exist on the boundaries of this world and the next. Even darker places are reputed to be closer here than anywhere else in the world.
Cool.
That's quite a claim.
Claim, yes, but probably just local superstition. We who live here on the Isle of the Crown, at least, sleep well enough at night.
Those first 3 islands you mentioned, how might I learn more about them?
Ideally, a young man seeking such knowledge would travel to their shores and learn about them firsthand. Meeting the leaders of each place would be helpful, naturally. Unfortunately, the ferry no longer runs between the islands. There has been much political unrest, and it has been too dangerous to travel for years. Perhaps the ferryman can tell you more. He has little enough to do these days. And if you haven't been there already, you might seek an audience at the castle.
Thank you kindly, merchant, for all your good advice.
Ah, but advice is free, Alexander. Making use of it costs much more.
Shit, dude. Hello, Joe. Good to see you. Definitely a excellent entry in the King's Quest series. I want to call it my favorite, but I don't know. It's tough.
I think you technically previously already have called it your favorite.
Have I? I feel like I said one of my favorites.
Okay. I'm pretty sure when you had to cancel the stream, I guess that was last weekend, you said something about it being your favorite game.
Yeah, this is the DOS CD-ROM version, which you can also play from the GOG download in ScumVM. The Windows version I showed off at the beginning of the stream, and it is the one you're describing with the high-res portraits and stuff. Yeah, if you play it in ScumVM, when you add the game, it'll ask you if you want to add the Windows or the DOS version, and you get like all the unique stuff to each version. Like the intro is different, the character portraits are different, and stuff. Yeah, I think it has the full Girl in the Tower. I mean, it's from the CD-ROM version, which had that whole track on it, so I assume it's in here. Let's see. This book looks interesting.
An antique leather-bound book is displayed on a little stand on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
On the elaborate cover is the title, Ye Useful Book of Magic Spells.
Oh. Can we have that?
How much for that book on the counter, merchant?
It is a fine book, is it not? I obtained it from the estate of the one and only magician this kingdom has ever had. Poofed himself into an aardvark in the end. Oh, so I heard. I never found the spells all that useful myself, but then I lead a boring life. I tell you what, if you can find another rare book, something a bit more marketable, I might be willing to exchange the spell book for it.
Okay. Joe said there was some kind of bug in mine regardless, so it didn't play anyway. Very disappointing. That's unfortunate. One of the things I like about ScumVM, it's available on a lot of different platforms. I'm playing on a Mac. There's like Windows. There's like a PSP version. Like, if there's something you can play games on, there's probably a ScumVM version for it. And they do a pretty good job of like both supporting various versions of the game and also like working around bugs that would come up if you played the game. Like if you get it from GOG, they use DOSBox. And from what I've heard, GOG does a pretty good job of helping folks with issues playing games. But you know, you're basically playing the DOS version on a much more modern computer than it was originally designed for, whereas this is like a complete rewrite of the game engine. So generally things play pretty smoothly, and you can use, you know, whatever version of the game you have to run it. It's pretty nice.
There's a small table near the door that bears a sign. The sign has undergone a number of changes. It once read 10 pence, but that was crossed out and replaced with 5 pence, then 1 pence, then free. The sign currently reads, "Take one, please."
Oh no.
Only one book remains on the table. It looks like the bookshop owner really wants to get rid of that book.
All right, I'll take it. I hope it's not cursed or something.
Alexander picks up the book from the small table.
Oh, yes, please, take that book. You have my most humble thanks for doing so, good sir.
Really? Thanks.
Well, at least it got us some points. That's all you can really ask for, right?
Alexander is carrying a book from the bargain table in the bookshop.
Yeah, I've been thinking I want to replay the first couple Monkey Island games before the new one comes out. Figure if I just replay the first two, that'll give me a nice lead into the new one. I already forgot what this was.
Alexander is carrying a book from the bargain table in the bookshop.
Is that all the
Okay, it doesn't tell me what it is. What is it?
Like, you can read it, right? It has a name, right?
Alexander opens the bargain book and reads a paragraph at random.
2 dulcimers raised to the degree of 40 half-dulcimers, divided into equal parts by the third of a cackle of grouse geese, put over the result of 10 fine mackles, albeit small fine mackles, stretched over the total of 53 1/8 bottles of wild geese lard.
Phew, what an incredibly boring book. No wonder the bookshop owner wanted to get rid of it so badly.
It's interesting that they refuse to tell us exactly what this book is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people doing that. Playing the first couple Monkey Island games. I too have felt the urge to re-monkey. Yes. This book and this little table is also interesting.
There's a book entitled The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages on the small table in the reading area. It appears that some regular customer likes that book.
Okay.
These shelves hold a collection of oddly titled guidebooks. Alexander notices such books as How to Become King with Little or No Rupees Down, Finding the Right Girl with the Right Dowry, and Why Good Princesses Like Bad Wizards.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember which versions of the Monkey Island games I played either. I know I have a disc that's like, it's got 2 of the Monkey Island games, I think, and then I think it's Indiana Jones Fate of Atlantis, one of the Indiana Jones games. But since it's like multiple games on a CD, I don't remember if it's like the actual CD versions of those games or what.
Volumes of poetry are on display on this bookshelf. Assorted travelogues and biographies are arranged on these shelves. These shelves hold a selection of cookbooks.
It's giving me Gabriel Knight 1 flashbacks. Like, do I have to like click on one exact book here to solve some puzzle?
Oh, God.
Alexander is not interested in those self-help books.
Okay. We should click on each shelf, though.
You've been streaming for a little while. Should you perhaps take a break?
Alexander decides to leaf through one of the volumes of love poetry. He reads, Thy hair, thy lips, thy beauteous face, and all thy studied female grace have won for thee anon a place within this broken breast. Not bad. And another. Upon the shore the lilies bend, untouched by worldly care, where shadow they her earthly bed, oh, that she were not there. Yikes. And another. What was it when I looked at you? What power has chained me through and through, and binds my heart with links so tight I cannot live without the sight of you? What nameless thing has captured me, and made me powerless to flee? What thing is it without a name that brings my mind e'er back the same to thee? The name of love cannot apply. Its commonness does not decry the haunted, hunted, painful cry that my heart makes for you, that e'er my soul eternal makes for you.
A little close to home, that one.
Alexander returns the love poem book to the shelf.
Oh!
Interesting.
Alexander picks up the fallen page. It's the love poem he particularly liked.
Oh.
It must have fallen out of the poetry book.
I see that old volume has lost another page. You may keep it if you like, sir. I have glued the stubborn thing back in place 2 times already.
I do rather like it. Thank you, merchant.
No, I did not spend too much time clicking around the pawn shop. I'll have to do that later. I am always happy to accept hints of jokes I might have missed. Okay, let's do a quick save, and then, like our stream ghost suggested, we will take a little bit of break. And we'll just enjoy the bookstore ambiance. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay. So I feel like I kind of lucked out there. Like I was joking about needing to get something, but I assume we will need that page of poem at some point.
Alexander has a love poem from a book in the bookshop.
I don't know what for.
The fireplace can provide Alexander with nothing but warmth.
I was trying to click on the book.
Alexander rests his feet for a moment. Alexander picks up and leafs idly through a book called The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages. Well, that was refreshing.
Okay. Can we bother this guy?
For some inexplicable reason, Alexander feels compelled to avoid this hooded old
I want to know
man.
what's happening in the game.
For some inexplicable reason, this obviously evil dude
He might be not
is
evil.
not someone that Alexander wants to mess with.
He might not be evil. He might just be shoplifting.
A plaque bearing a merchant crest hangs over the doorway. The bookshop owner must be proud of his credentials.
Interesting.
Alexander is a little old for those children's books.
Okay.
Alexander isn't interested in the cookbooks on that shelf. He's had an aversion to cooking ever since he experimented with a certain cookie recipe involving cat hair and fish oil. Right
I guess
now,
that's fair.
Alexander is too involved with the journey he's on to take time to read about the journeys of others.
I see. So, only love poems for Alexander right now. And tell me about court jesters? Alright. Old lamps for new. Let's see what's up here.
You a million times. Those flowers are too sweet for the likes of you. You've still got to do the breakfast dishes, make lunch, and clean the stables yet this morning. And get your veil back on. No one wants to look at your face.
Yes, stepmother.
Yikes.
So, we got a Cinderella situation.
Sure do. If you don't recall, this game does have a few annoying things you can miss out just because you didn't go to a location in the right window of time. All you can really do is save a lot in Standard Sierra, I suppose. Yeah, generally the way I've been playing these games is as much of a bummer as it is to miss things, I prefer to not have any hints for stuff like that, to just kind of take things as it goes, and we try to save often just in case. And I know in this one especially, there's lots of things they kind of expect you to miss. I try to be thorough, but it's okay if we miss some things here and there. Much like Gabriel Knight, really. All those overdue chores are also true of me. Yes, very relatable.
The entrance to the house is a time-worn wooden door.
Don't think we can do much here right now, especially since everyone went back inside.
The gate is closed. It appears that the house's owners like their privacy.
Oops. Accidentally colored the fence green. It does have some green on it, so it's fine. Left edges, man. Why are those the worst? There we go. Oh. Okay.
Hey, stranger, come join me. The water is wonderful, and I can show you the way to the next island.
don't.
Maybe it's just the background music, but I'm suspicious of this person.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that boat's not going anywhere, huh? That's just on the ground.
Yeah. That's a houseboat now.
Come on, jump in. A little water won't hurt you.
Won't it though? I feel like it could. I'm gonna draw this scene here, and then since I've saved now, we'll jump in and see what happens. I feel like it's not gonna be good. I'm pretty sure about that. Alexander has a nice relaxing swim. I'm sure he will. So sure. Y'all seem confident this is gonna go great. Or are you just trying to trick me?
For what it's worth, I have absolutely no memory of this child. Or his suspicious background music.
I don't remember that much about the character, but I'm pretty sure this is going to lead to our death. I guess I'll make a note that there is a swimming boy here. I should also note that there are guard dogs over here. Okay. Here we go.
Considering the poor condition of the shore, it looks like the easiest way to get into the water is just to jump off the pier.
I mean, that's what I was trying to do. There we go.
The powerful currents grab Alexander. Struggle as he might, he feels himself being pulled out to sea.
Not a very good swimmer, are you?
Help me!
Sorry, I think not.
As his head submerges for the third time, Alexander finds himself pondering the wisdom of going out on a limb for a stranger.
Yeah, it wasn't very smart, was it?
Whoa.
Tickets only. Next.
Alexander couldn't handle those currents. That boy must be an unbelievably strong swimmer.
Why did that child lure us to our death?
Kind of evil, I guess.
Come on,
Also,
jump in. A little
How
water won't
ironic
hurt you.
is it to survive a shipwreck and then just immediately drown?
Yeah.
It's the same day.
I'm Alexander. What are you doing in the sea?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm swimming. I mean, come join me. The water's wonderful. I can show you the way to the next island. What are you waiting for? I said I'd show you how to get to the next island, didn't I? Come join me if you're brave enough. Come join me if you're brave enough.
Okay. No thanks.
That's strange. The young boy in the water just disappeared. Oh well, perhaps he just dove under the water.
Version of this also had some problem where instead of tickets only, the land of the dead guy would get it cut off, so we'd go tickets. Oh,
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, why did the sea child explode?
I do not know. I don't know if there's anything we can do over here. Could go in here.
you want?
Excuse me. My name is Alexander. The owner of the bookshop in the village told me you might be able to help me. I hear you used to run this ferry for the islands. I'd like to talk to you if you have a moment.
You say old Allie sent you? I can't see why. The ferry's not running, you know.
I understand. I'd just like to talk to you about the islands if you don't mind.
Well, I guess it'd be all right if Allie sent you. Well, don't just stand there. Come on inside.
Oh, neat.
What is it you wanted to talk about, young man?
I don't know.
I'm a visitor to these islands. I'd like to learn what I can about the area.
So you said outside. What is it you want to know?
Well, for one thing, why has the island's only ferry been dry docked?
Huh. It just ain't safe to sail these days. What with the islands feuding and all. Wazir Al-Hazred ordered the ferry closed till things settled down. Me, I don't think she'll ever see water again.
But why are the islands feuding?
You got me. Something about stolen property or some such thing. 'Tis a real shame. Things used to be so friendly.
Then this unrest is recent.
A few years is all, but it's been long enough.
Perhaps if the ferry were repaired.
This old thing? This ferry's been out of water so long she's no longer even seaworthy. Her boards have dry rot. She'd fall apart at the first taste of seawater.
But there must be some way to get off this island.
There's only one other way to travel that I know of. A magic map. The owner of the pawn shop can tell you more about that than I can, Alexander.
Okay. I like the sound of that. What's this? What's this item?
There's a rabbit's foot on the table. It seems the ferryman is counting on a little luck.
I see you have a rabbit's foot. Has it brought you much luck?
As you can see, my luck's been out for some time now, despite that old charm. Why don't you take it with you? Perhaps giving the darn thing away will bring me good fortune at last.
You never know.
Perhaps it will at that. Thank you.
The rabbit's foot has long, soft fur.
Okay.
Tell me more about the ferry.
I remember when I used to ferry Queen Ilaria and Princess Cassima themselves. There was no thought of danger back then. They used to go visiting to care for the needy and to keep up the friendly relations between the islands. I remember their last trip. Things had started getting nasty by then, and when they came back aboard, I gathered that the Queen and the Princess had been received a bit coldly. Princess Cassima was such a pretty thing, and she was terribly upset. But who could be spreading these lies, she asked the Queen, but the Queen had no answer.
What do you do now that the ferry no longer operates?
Me? I'm out of a job. The job my ancestors have held for generations. I'm the only one trained to avoid the reef and the rocks. But that knowledge does me no good now.
Is there no other boat on the island? One that might be more seaworthy?
Boats don't last long on these shoals, as you may have found out if you got here by ship. You can be quite sure that this old ferry is, or was, the only craft on the island.
Tell me more about Princess Cassima.
Ah, such a beautiful child, and so pure of heart. Why, a contrary thought has never crossed her mind. Her mother was the same. The king and queen, they served the islands, not the other way around, always thinking about the people. Ah, they are sorely missed.
6-7 says gonna be awkward to have that in your inventory when you meet the Rabbit Emperor.
What else can you tell me about the land?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonder's a lovely spot. A bit crazy, mind you. Gotta have a good sense of humor to enjoy a tour there.
Got a lot of dialogue
What else
here.
can you tell me about the land?
The Isle of the Beast is pretty, but unfortunately, you can't get very far onto the island.
On account of the beast?
What else can you tell me about the land?
The inhabitants of the Isle of the Sacred Mountain are the most gorgeous creatures you'll ever see. If you ever get to see them, that is.
What else can you tell me about the land?
The Castle of the Crown sure is a beauty. She's the finest palace ever built, I'll warrant.
How do we get in there,
What else
though?
can you tell me about the land?
Some say that the land of the Green Isles is near the edge of the world, and that the deadly currents are a result of a magnetism that sucks life from this world to the next. Of
Wow.
course, that's just silly talk.
Okay. Can you imagine having a conversation in which one person just asks the same question like a dozen times over and over?
What else can you tell me about the land?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonder's a lovely spot. A bit crazy, mind you. Gotta have a good sense of humor to enjoy a tour there.
We're looping now. Good day, sir. Thank you for the conversation and Rabbit's Foot.
Alexander is sitting inside the ferry's cabin. The place displays the neatness of a seaman and the sparseness of a bachelor. There are few frills and comforts in the rough wooden environment, but the sunlight shines cheerily on the oaken beams, and the portholes admit a pleasant breeze.
Okay.
Well, I think I'll be going now. Thanks for allowing me into your home.
Posh, not at all. It breaks the boredom, if you know what I mean.
Okay. So we learned about the magic map, which we need to ask about at the pawn shop. We were also told to seek an audience at the castle, but I don't know how to do that.
Good day.
Oh.
A mysterious old man also patronizes the pawn shop. He steals sidelong glances at Alexander from under his hood.
Oh, he's got a creepy eye. I missed that before.
The back wall of the shop holds various odds and ends. For example, a hull hole detector for finding those hard-to-spot holes in small sailboats.
That's handy.
Cat cookie mix. Play tricks on your friends, the box says. A golden bridle finder for finding those nearly invisible golden bridles. Self-adhesive emeralds. What you use when you don't have honey. Tongue climbing gear. Tested on over 100 whale tongues.
Oh.
A uvula tickler. Guaranteed to make large mammals sneeze. A cheese hook for retrieving cheese out of small holes. A shovel that's guaranteed not to break for over 100 grave diggings. A bridge repair kit for when you've crossed a bridge one too many times. Stair traction pads. Stop slipping off those narrow staircases.
That one's extra important.
A hole detector for finding those hard-to-spot holes in small sailboats. A strange-looking winged device occupies one corner of the room. It is frail with disuse. Alexander finds it intriguing. Perhaps he thinks it was once used in a local sporting event, in which enthusiasts jumped from cliffs, glided on air currents, and then attempted to land, frequently crunching a bone or two in the process. Alexander shudders at the thought and decides to stick to dragon slaying.
All right.
A tall skeleton lends an air of mystery to the shop.
I just noticed there's like a little jar over here that wasn't visible in the close-up.
An elegant little glass dish decorates the countertop. The dish is full of green mints offered for the enjoyment of the customer.
Oh, free mints. Wow, I feel like I should save before I take a free mint.
Alexander takes a mint.
Okay, we got points, so I don't think we're going to immediately die, at least.
The small green mint looks very tasty.
What am I supposed to do with that? That's weird. Hey, Silver, good to see ya. Must have thinking I could get yard work done during your going to start late time. How's it going? What version did you choose? So I settled on the DOS version, which gives us the low-res portraits that I appreciate the most. But it's the DOS CD-ROM version, so we still get the full voices and everything, which is very nice.
Game got you so you can't even trust a mint.
I know, right? Like, should I eat? I just saved, so let's try to eat it.
Melt if Alexander held it too tightly.
I mean, I was trying to eat it.
Alexander eats the mint. Not bad. A little stale, perhaps.
Is that for when we need to freshen up our breath for when we meet Cassima?
Perhaps.
Now my mint's gone. Can I take another?
Alexander takes a mint.
Okay. That's fine then.
I wonder if there's a limit to how many times you can do that.
That's a good question.
Excuse me, merchant, but the ferryman mentioned that you might have a magic map of the land of the Green Isles.
Why, as a matter of fact, I do. I keep it under the counter. It's been gathering dust so long that I nearly forgot about it. It was quite a few years ago, you see. The estate of a wealthy wizard fell into my hands when he died. It was useless magical junk mostly, which reminds me, I've still got some things of his in the back that I need to dump out. Anyway, the magic map was the one true treasure in the lot. The wizard was quite old and feeble and had enchanted the map to aid in traveling. It is said that one need only desire to be on an island depicted on the map to find oneself there. It is a very valuable map, as you can imagine. Unfortunately, no one is interested in traveling these days. It is far too dangerous with the current state of the kingdom.
So I could just have it
What would you take for the map?
I would normally want something magic in return, but since I am hardly overrun with prospective buyers, I would be willing to take anything of equal value in exchange.
So like a mint. What do we have? I assume our copper coin is not enough. What about a really boring book? I feel like none of these things are going to work. We'll try the coin first.
I believe I will trade in this coin, merchant.
Certainly. It isn't valuable enough to trade for the magic map, but you may choose one of the other 4 items on the counter in exchange.
Nah.
How about that map?
Oh no, a single coin would never do in exchange for the magic map. Please, choose from one of my other 4 counter items, sir.
Nah.
I'm really not interested in anything on the counter at this time.
As you
Maybe
wish. Here is your coin back.
Would you be interested in trading for this book?
I am afraid not. Books are more my neighbor's line of work. After all, I would not want him selling curiosities.
I guess. I'm gonna see what happens if I give him a mint.
I took a mint.
Help yourself. That is what they're there for.
Thanks. Rabbit's foot?
Would
It's
you
very
be
lucky.
interested in making a trade for this, merchant?
A rabbit's foot. I do not believe I could use that.
I feel like giving away our ring would be a bad idea, but let's see what happens.
Would you be willing to take my family ring in exchange for the magic map?
Daventry, are you a king then?
No, just a prince.
That's my father, King Graham. I'm just Alexander.
Well, Prince Alex, she is a beautiful ring. Are you sure you can part with such a unique family heirloom?
No.
The ring does mean a lot to me. I didn't always have a family, you know. Still, it is only gold. There are more important things at stake now.
Then you now own a magic map, Prince Alex. I will keep your ring out of sight for a few days. If you find anything else of great value in your travels, you can come back for your ring. I would hate to see it melted down for gold.
Yeah.
And a warning about the map. It will only operate when you are out in the open and within sight of the sea. The limitation has something to do with the teleport spell ingredients. You might try the beach.
Thank you. You are very kind, and I'll remember about the map.
Okay, so... Oh, you want a mint, buddy?
Suddenly, the old man in the concealing cloak sneaks past Alexander, and with a sneaky dart of his hand, steals a mint from the candy jar.
They're pretty good.
The old man stuffs the mint into his mouth and wobbles unsteadily out of the pawn shop.
Huh. Oh.
Eh?
Master, I was observing in the village as you wished, and I saw a major. I don't know, danger? No, a stranger there. He says, he's Prince Blamentander of Slaventry.
Yeah.
You fool! You've been eating those mints again. I ordered you to stop that.
Yes.
Drunk on mints?
Now, who did this stranger say he was?
Prince Salamander of Pageantry. I think.
You idiot. Are you trying to tell me that Prince Alexander of Daventry is here? Confound it! That's the young man Cosima met at Mordak's castle. The timing could not be worse. Tell me, what is he doing?
He was in the pawn shop buying a magic smap.
Magic smap? What is this magic smap?
With the smap, he can travel to other islands. Master.
That's a map, you dolt! Oh, drat it all. I thought I took care of the only means of travel. By my scimitar, I can't have him stirring things up. Not now! Get a hold of yourself and listen carefully, Shamir. Go to the other islands and tell them...
Interesting. Yeah, I debated a lot about using the both option. Like the option to have both text and voice at the same time is pretty certain something that was added in Scum VM and was not in the original game. And it affects the placement of the portraits and stuff. So I was a little worried to we wouldn't quite be getting the intended presentation that way. and decided to go with just voices. So we have a map now.
Wouldn't you rather have a SMAP?
Yeah, I did. I ran the, I remembered I had the King's Quest Collection CD, and I booted up the version on there in Windows, and there was no option for both in that. What did you say on Secret Crush?
Oh, it was a dumb joke.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I missed
It's
your
not
dumb
worth
joke.
repeating.
The magic map is made of thin leather and has lifelike drawings of the islands on its uneven surface.
Is there anywhere... I think we should go back to the castle and see if we can make any progress on talking to someone there. Oh.
What?
Now that I no longer have the ring, it occurs to me that I should have shown that to the guards.
Way to go.
I mean, I know we can get it back, but we can't get it back right now. So I'm going to do a save. And I'm going to do a restore. And then we'll just see if that gets us anywhere. Let's see, I think this... Yeah, this is before I took a mint.
Alexander takes a mint.
Oops, forgot to cap my yellow marker.
Alexander decides to show his royal insignia ring to the Castle of the Crown Guards. With all of his papers lost in the shipwreck, it is the only possible calling card he can think of.
Good day. I'm Prince Alexander of Daventry. I'm an acquaintance of Princess Cassima. If you could just inform her that I'm here, please.
So everyone says. Let me just look at that ring.
What does it say, Gruff?
Kingdom of Daventry, Prince Alexander. Wait here while I go see what Captain Saladin thinks of this.
Oh.
The guard returns a moment later with a majestic-looking creature. Captain Saladin speaks with a voice that is gentle, but reflects a will of iron.
Prince Alexander of Daventry, I presume. I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with your country, but I'm sure Vizier Al-Hazared will want to meet you, if indeed you are a friend of the princess. Please follow me.
I'm glad I thought of this.
Lord Al-Hazared, a visitor to see you. Prince Alexander of Daventry.
What is it that you seek, Prince Alexander?
Pardon the intrusion, my lord, but I came to see Princess Cassima. Some months ago, my father, King Graham, saved my family and I from imprisonment under an evil wizard named Mordak.
The same wizard that kidnapped the princess?
Exactly. When my father rescued us, he also liberated Cassima and sent her home.
Then your father has my gratitude, and that of the entire kingdom. but I'm afraid I still fail to see the purpose of your visit.
Well, I came to make sure that Cassima arrived safely and to pay my respects. Before we parted, she gave me an invitation to visit.
I have no doubt she did exactly that at the time, Prince Alexander. However, things have greatly changed for Cassima since her ordeal in Mordak's castle. Cassima's parents both became ill and died while she was gone. Cassima is sequestered in mourning for them as befits a princess. She is not receiving visitors of any kind. Even if she were, I do not think your visit would be appropriate. You see, it is time for Cassima to take her responsibilities seriously. With her parents gone, she no longer has the luxury to be a carefree maiden. As was her parents' wish, Cassima and I are to be wed. We shall rule the kingdom together. I assure you, our marriage is all Cassima wants now. As a prince and a gentleman, it would be best that you leave before there is any further embarrassment.
I see. I suppose that I was mistaken. I thought for certain that Cassima...
I guess my magic mirror could have lied to me.
A young man sees what he wishes to see. I'm sorry you've wasted your time traveling to the land of the Green Isles. May your journey home be swift.
Perhaps I will take the opportunity to look around your fair land while I'm here.
I would advise against that. The kingdom is rather, shall we say, inhospitable these days. But it is your neck. You may risk it if you please. Captain Saladin will escort you from the castle. Good day.
All right.
You have had your hearing with Vizier Al-Hazred. I trust you will respect his wishes and not return. I have been instructed not to let you into the castle again. Good day, my lord.
Captain Saladin whispers something to the guard dogs at the castle gate, and they nod with understanding.
Was it don't let him in?
Alexander has a feeling they won't be letting him into the castle again.
The emphasis on him there was interesting. We need a disguise, perhaps. I was noticing this little booth here where we could perhaps change into a disguise.
Oh, handy.
So that seemed like it was probably an optional thing, but definitely worth seeing. So now we'll go back and trade our ring. I don't feel great about trading the ring, but I feel like we probably have to. And you know, hopefully we'll find something we can use to get it back.
Good day.
Excuse me, merchant, but the ferryman mentioned that you...
Why?
Skip this.
It was quite... It is...
What would you take for... Would you be willing...
Daventry. Well...
The ring... Thank you.
Guess we can't skip this
The
part.
old man stuffs the mint into his mouth and wobbles unsteadily out of...
Drunk on mints. I can't help but think we're gonna use a mint to get this guy drunk later or something. Did I get a point for eating a mint? I can't remember.
I also
If
do not
Alexander
remember.
wants to exchange one of his...
No,
Alexander
It's a
eats the
shame you
mint.
skipped that scene at the castle already, because I'm curious if it
bad.
would have been any
A little
different since you've
stale,
already been to the
perhaps.
castle once in this save.
Oh.
It's like the first time, this was how the Vizier was learning that Prince Alexander of Daventry is there.
Shoot.
Reload?
I'd have to go all the way back now because I didn't save in between there. It's fine. Okay. Now we'll use our map, I guess. Review my notes here. We did seek an audience at the castle. Ferry is stopped, but I don't know if we can do anything about that. And we have a map now, so it doesn't really matter. Meet the leaders of each island was also suggested to us. Okay. So we have to be in view of the ocean?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll go back this way. I think either way we can get in view of the ocean is 2 screens away from there, so. Oh yeah, shoot. That bird was not there before, and I meant to... Like, it could just be... you know, background detail, but let's see if we can do anything with it.
A nightingale perches on a high branch of the tree. She sings the most beautiful song Alexander has ever heard.
A nightingale. All right, I'm going back to the pawn shop. Oh, huh. He was talking about throwing out some magic stuff that he thought was worthless. Let's see if there's anything good in here.
Alexander sorts through the odds and ends that the pawn shop owner dumped into the pot. Magic exploding gum wrappers, a shattered crystal ball, a cracked wand, a fake thumb. Near the bottom, Alexander finds a little glass bottle labeled ink. It appears to be empty, but Alexander decides to take it anyway. You never know when a small bottle will come in handy.
Interesting.
What if it's invisible ink?
Yeah, I bet it is something like that.
Alexander's carrying a little ink bottle. It appears to be empty.
Appears. Okay. Let's get ourselves a mechanical nightingale.
Day, Prince Alexander.
I believe I will trade in this coin, merchant.
Certainly. You may choose something from the front counter in exchange.
That mechanical nightingale looks intriguing. I believe I'll take it.
Very well. Your coin is well spent. Remember, this is a pawn shop. I am always willing to take back my own goods in trade.
I'll remember. Thank you.
I thought that was the case. Nice to have it confirmed.
The mechanical nightingale is made of tin, painted dreary shades of brown to match the coloring of a real nightingale. A small key emerges from its back.
Okay. I don't know why we'd want to play a mechanical nightingale for a real nightingale, but there's got to be something there, right?
Perhaps?
The mechanical nightingale's hard tin body doesn't feel anything like a real bird's soft feathers.
Sure.
Alexander winds the mechanical nightingale and places it on the ground. The mechanical nightingale sings a sweet, tinny tune. The real nightingale in the tree cocks her head and listens intently. The nightingale flies to a lower branch and looks at Alexander curiously, as if she were deciding that this human might not be so bad.
What did that get us? I guess the nightingale trusts us now. Can we say hello?
Hello, little nightingale. Of what do you sing?
The nightingale only looks at Alexander curiously and continues to sing. Although the nightingale seems interested in Alexander, she would never allow him close enough to grab her. The nightingale sings her crystalline song in the boughs of the old tree. The nightingale looks at Alexander curiously, as though waiting for something.
Got any bird snacks?
All right, I was just trying to think, like, do I need to feed it?
Alexander winds the mechanical nightingale.
I don't know if playing it again makes any sense, but...
It plays its pleasant tinny tune. The living nightingale in the tree listens to the tune curiously.
I feel like we're missing some component to this puzzle.
Yeah.
All right. Just have to come back later. Map.
Alexander pulls out his magic map.
Nice. Where to go? Isle of the Beast, Isle of Wonder. We're on the Isle of the Crown. And we have the Isle of the Sacred Mountain. I'm going to pop open my guidebook here. In the guidebook, the Isle of Wonder comes next. But, I mean, we also know this is a little bit of an open world situation, so we don't necessarily have to do things in a particular order. But there might be some things that we need to do in a particular order. So, we'll at least check out the Isle of Wonder.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Interesting.
Quite a sound.
So, in the guidebook here, we just have a pretty short section on this island, so... Part 3, the Isle of Wonder. Imagine a place where the very path beneath your feet might complain of your weight, and the trees purposely drop twigs on your head for the sheer merriment of it all.
Rude.
And you'll have an idea of what it's like to be on the Isle of Wonder. The Isle of Wonder is a comma-shaped body of land that might as well resemble a question mark, for confusion and astonishment are sure to be the lot of the unsuspecting visitor. The island is teeming with life. Vegetation is abundant, as are the island's inhabitants. In fact, the two are frequently one and the same. One can scarcely pick up a grain of sand on that shore without it demanding to be put back, and this instant, if you please. The history of this unusual island is an issue of fervent speculation. Many believe that it was an uninteresting deserted island until a wizard enchanted the whole place, bringing everything in it to life and presented it to his daughter as a birthday present. Others say that the island was once the prison of a beautiful princess, held captive there by a powerful and jealous queen. The maiden was so fair that the very trees and stones themselves could not bear to hear her crying and came to life to provide her companionship. Still another group ardently claims that the creator of the universe simply got tired of the serious business of life-giving and decided to indulge his or her sense of humor. Whatever the origin, a more delightful spot could scarcely be imagined. But be warned, those travelers who know exactly what to expect from life would be well advised to go elsewhere. While most of the island's inhabitants are friendly, some of the thornier natives are capable of being downright rude, and all are quirksome. Visitors are frequent on the Isle of Wonder, for it offers a refreshing respite from the ho-hum of everyday life. Even the king and queen enjoy a picnic on Exclamation Point or a stroll in the gardens, and they are on occasion to be found there relaxing and passing the time of day with the island's natives. The rulers of the Isle of Wonder are a pair of queens, rivals in every way, and most frequently to be found arguing over everything from the color of the sky to the consistency of potato hash. Despite their eccentricities, the Isle of Wonder seems to run smoothly and be a flourishing part of the kingdom, providing many valuable exports and lending the kingdom a lightheartedness to counter their more serious countrymen on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain. So, very serious business. I think I'm gonna take the cautious route and use a fresh sheet of paper for this area. So we got some... Oh, what's this?
Alexander picks up the object floating in the water. It appears to be a string of letters. They say, "Where are you going?" Alexander decides to keep the odd sentence, even though it is incomplete.
Oh. Just says where in the inventory here.
Alexander is carrying, oddly enough, a sentence. It says, "Where are you going?"
Okay, so... Got some snoring clams over here, I guess? I guess we'll say hello.
Why aren't you asleep like the other oysters?
Oh, I'm so weary, but I can't sleep. I have a terrible ache in my mouth.
I remember this clam. I don't remember what you have to do with it, but I remember its voice.
What's wrong with your mouth?
No offense, but it hurts too much to talk.
Oh. It's rough, buddy. Can we...
Why don't you let me see if I can help?
No way! No one's looking in my mouth. I hate dentists.
Okay. What if I told you I'm not a dentist, so it's fine? Does that help? Probably not.
Okay. The voice actor sounds familiar because it is Rusty Taylor, best known as the voice of Minnie Mouse.
Yes. Like, this clam, they got a pearl in their mouth, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously. Mm-hmm. How do we get that out? I do not know. Let's see what's over this way.
Alexander hears someone coming.
Okay. Okay.
5 fierce guards of the isle we be. Watch for a foreign man, said he, with ears and nose, tongue, hands, and eyes. Its nature cannot be disguised. If man it be, then man it dies.
Yep.
Old Tom Troll, smell your smell. Do that which you do so well.
So, if I remember this correctly, we need to convince each of these.
My brothers, as we feared, a man has landed here. A man, so Sam knows, into the waiting sea he goes.
This is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Rip Alexander.
The gnomes toss Alexander too far out into the sea for him to get his footing. The currents drag him under.
Rip Alexander. So you gotta figure out a way to not...
We need to fool each one of these fellows. We need to...
Look, sound, smell... What are the other ones?
Yeah.
Tickets only. Next.
Guess those gnomes couldn't reach a consensus.
Ha ha ha.
Wow.
Also, they did, actually.
Right.
They had one evidence, and they said, well, that's man. Gotta get him out of here. Oh, she's also the voice of Simone in Gabriel Knight 3.
Oh.
The nighttime clerk of the hotel.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down her behind the voice actors page, and it's mostly Minnie Mouse.
Uh-huh.
It's Minnie Mouse all the way down.
Yeah.
With the occasional smattering of things that are not Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, like I noticed, like she has played Minnie Mouse in like.
She has been
like
Minnie Mouse for many years.
Anything Minnie Mouse would possibly be in. I was also noticing that Robby Benson played the Beast in, like, you know, he was the Beast in Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I spelled wonder wrong, huh?
She's also been Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Alexander pulls out his
various
magic map.
iterations of DuckTales. Oh, she was also Birdie and a parrot in The Adventures of Ronald McDonald, McTreasure Island, 1990.
Fascinating.
Didn't you know that was a thing?
I guess we'll do a little tour. Like, we'll just go around the islands in the order that they're in the guidebook here. Just because why not? So next is the Isle of the Sacred Mountain.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Oh.
Baby Gonzo and Muppet Babies. Strawberry Shortcake. Pac Baby and various Pac-Man cartoons of the early 80s.
Huh. Can't say I knew there was a Pac Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have some interesting items on the ground here.
Alexander notices an unusually large coal black feather lying on the beach.
This is... Secret. Oop. Wow, I'm great at spelling. Can't pick something up without saving first.
Alexander takes the feather. Alexander is carrying an unusually large black feather.
How much later do you think you're going to be going?
Oh, 7:09, not too much later.
There's a
try to wrap things up
flower
soon.
growing near the base of the cliff. Alexander picks the flower and is startled by its hideously strong skunk-like odor. For a moment, he can smell nothing else.
Okay, so my thought was that a rabbit's foot, like we have to fool the five senses. So rabbit's foot could be useful for touch.
Stinky flower.
We got a stinky flower, so that covers smell.
Could you use the bird for sound?
Yeah, I don't know. And then sight is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
Taste?
Taste. A mint?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, did I forget to grab a fresh mint after I ate it?
Oh. Unwinnable.
It's okay, we can go back. Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Thinking back, it's probably fooling the gnomes that was the main thing that I could not ever get past when I was playing this as a kid.
Yeah, it seems a little tricky. I also have some stuff on the wall.
There appears to be something etched into the face of the cliff. Alexander decides to get closer.
Ignorance kills, wisdom elevates. Okay. Cool and normal to have on your rock wall.
The rock has been etched by some unknown hand. One may need to read about the logic cliffs in the Guidebook to the Land of the Green Isles in order to understand this mystical inscription.
Yeah, so I believe this whole, like, island is kind of the copy protection island, basically.
Wild.
Which you need information in the Guidebook to get through. Oh, speaking of the Guidebook, I was going to read the part on this section. Part 4, the Isle of the Sacred Mountain. The Isle of the Sacred Mountain, on first impression, appears to be nothing but a great wall of cliffs rising to the sky with no apparent means of scaling it. The visitor is soon met, however, by a pair of greeters of the Winged Ones race. The Winged Ones are the inhabitants of the Isle of the Sacred Mountain. Towering to a height of 6 to 7 feet, the Winged Ones are by far the most impressive creatures I've ever seen. Each one of them, male and female alike, is surpassingly beautiful. Their bodies are muscled and athletic and gleaming with health. From their broad backs, mighty wings emerge like secondary limbs, strong and webbed and covered with large white feathers. And when they spread those massive wings, oh, it is as if the sun itself is eclipsed. Two of these creatures, the greeters, meet visitors at the base of the cliffs, and so was I met. Gently, they took my arms and flew me upwards. Has there not been a man who has dreamed of flying? Are we all not Icarus in our heart of hearts? Imagine then the thrill of that flight and the glory of the beings who rule the very air around us. But as the old saw warns, beauty is only skin deep. I was flown to the Winged One's city, a strange and haunting place whose architecture combines the two overriding elements of this culture, aviation and the classical. The city seems built to exclude those poor creatures whose lot it is to crawl like insects upon the ground, for each edifice towers into the sky with no connection to the next or to the ground itself save by flight. Thus completely dependent on the greeters to travel about the city or even leave, the visitor is humbled and loath to do much exploration. This appeared to me to be rather the intention, for the culture of the Winged Ones is a private one. On the Isle of Wonder, I always felt welcome, despite the sometimes gruff nature of the inhabitants. They had a certain simplicity and honesty about them. By contrast, although my reception with the Winged Ones was on the surface extremely polite, the formal words of welcome did not ring true. I sensed in the eyes of that beauteous race a disdain of common humanity, a haughtiness that made them suddenly lose some of their golden perfection in the eyes of this humble observer. Despite this innate sense of superiority, the Winged Ones are valuable members of the kingdom and provide many important skills. Incredibly intelligent, the Winged Ones are master logicians and mathematicians, precise architects and planners. Nice illustration here. They disdain magic and the daintier arts, being far too logical for such goings-on. Even the palace of the Winged One city has a sparseness, a sense of functionality that denotes their contempt for artistic ornamentation. The Winged One's culture is an old one, and they make frequent references to the Ancient Ones, their forefathers, whose ruins and great works still abound on the island. The Isle of the Sacred Mountain is ruled by a lord and lady who exist as monarchs on their own island but owe allegiance to the common crown. The name of the island derived from a lone peak which soars into the clouds beyond the city. There, in a cave, dwells the sacred oracle, the philosophical head of the community. It is said that the oracle is centuries old, ultimately wise, and can read the future. She is consulted by the lord and lady on every facet of the city's life and even advises the king and queen. I, of course, did not meet the oracle, and even most Winged One citizens regard her as an almost mythical being. The greatest honor any Winged One citizen might hope for in his or her long life is to be granted a meeting with the oracle, for her cave is a place reserved for only the most worthy souls. Like many lofty ambitions, most of the Winged Ones never achieve this end. I found myself fascinated by the Ancient Ones, for it was the only deep history apparent in the kingdom. From what I managed to learn from the closed-mouthed Winged Ones themselves, and from the more readily available information to be found in the writings from scholars on the Isle of the Crown, I put together the following picture of this bygone race. I included among these records for the kingdom, for they are as much a presence in the land as the current inhabitants. And then the next section is about the Ancient Ones, which, oh, okay. We're starting to get into the copy protection bit here. So I think I'll save that section for when we're ready to actually play this part. So for now, we will...
Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Let's pop back over here and grab another mint, and then I think I'll go experiment and see if we can make any progress at all on our 5 senses puzzle. At least help us narrow down where we stand there.
Good day, Prince Alexander.
Good day. I'm back for a mint.
Alexander takes a mint.
What happens if I take another mint?
Alexander already has a mint. He'd prefer to leave some for the other customers.
want to do with that bird? I guess feeding it makes the most sense, right? Or maybe we could, I don't know, give it an egg?
Huh. Interesting logic.
I don't know, what do birds like? They like bird seed, they like egg, right? That's it. That's all the things. Worm?
They like to care for egg.
I'm just doing my best here.
Sure.
Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Okay. Why do I always click on the wrong thing when I want to save? So I assume we just need to try to go anywhere to bring those guys back?
Alexander hears someone coming.
"5 fierce guards of the isle we be. Watch for a foreign man," said he, "with ears and nose, tongue, hands, and eyes. Its nature cannot be disguised. If mad it be, then mad it dies."
Okay, so we got smell first. John?
Smell your smell. Do that which you do so well.
This one I feel good about.
Alexander holds the flower of stench out to the gnome with the jumbo nose.
Tom Trow I am, that's all I'll be. My nose knows all on land and sea. A flower of stench has washed ashore. A flower 'tis all, and nothing more.
I think that guy needs a Zyrtec.
Yeah.
Listen, hark you, broken oar. Do your duty as you swore. With your ears, please tell us more.
This one, maybe there's a flute. I wonder if that, I don't know. We already found a use for the nightingale. I guess I feel like, although we do also know there's sometimes multiple solutions in this game, so.
I'm sorry, but if you didn't already pick up the Zyrtec by now, you've missed your chance to get it.
The gnome with the monumental
Too real.
ears.
We might be good here. Oh yeah, he's into it.
A nose is not a way to spy. My ears cannot be told a lie. A nightingale is all there be. No man is near, and so say me. Taste, Grum Trump, that we might know whether friend or whether foe.
Look at that beautiful tongue. All right. It's mint time, I hope.
Alexander holds the mint out for the gnome with the gigantic mouth.
Grumfrump knows a tasty treat. It matters not what others bleat. No danger is this one so sweet.
Trilly dilly, use your hands. Is it beast or is it man?
It's beast. I like how each one, like, their like extra good sense is like so sensitive that they have to, like, you know, wear a glove or keep a clothespin on their nose at all times, or just life will be unbearable for them, I guess.
Alexander holds the rabbit foot out for the gnome with the huge hands.
Be all you mad? What aileth thee? A bunny
he can't trill merrily. A hare does not at all taste sweet. A rabbit here is all we greet.
I'm so glad I played the voiced version.
Never fatter. Vision can resolve this matter. Look you now and end this chatter.
So how do you fool this guy?
Yeah, that's the, like, what? I got a book?
Throw the book at him.
I don't know what to do.
You have a bottle of what we suspect is invisible ink. Can you use it on yourself and make yourself disappear?
Oh.
Try it.
Alexander pours the contents of the empty-looking ink bottle over himself.
Yes!
By all that's beauteous, fair, and sightly, 4 morons do I sleep with nightly. There's nothing there at all, I say. Enough of this. Let's now away.
Awesome. I didn't expect to get past that.
Yeah.
Alexander did it. He's fooled the guards.
Hell yes.
Oh, interesting. Joe is here for you says, I think you can actually try the ink bottle in advance so you know how it works and it doesn't run out.
Oh, that's extremely generous of a Sierra game.
Yeah, exactly. As he says, as they say, one of the game's un-Sierra kindnesses.
Let's save. Isle of Wonder, guards defeated.
Okay. So if you're just kind of goofing around with it, it doesn't run out. But after you have used it for its intended purpose.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's gone now. Do we have... Oh.
The little oyster looks far too grumpy to enjoy a good tickling.
Okay. Hello, Gamer Pro. Welcome. Also nice about giving you endless mints at the pawn shop until you don't need them anymore. That is very nice. Oh, gosh. I remember the screen. I do not remember what all goes on here. Those are books. That's a lot of books. We got bees flying all in the air. We got a spider down here, and there's something in the spider's web. That looks interesting. My little spider. This is a hard one to draw. Just draw a bunch of lines all over the place.
Wow. Hiya, gorgeous. Oh, what a luscious-looking hunk of flesh you are.
Ma'am?
Thank you, I guess. Who are you?
How charming of you to pretend not to know. I'm Black Widow, of course. The femme fatale of all femme fatales. Know what I mean? You know, I was just thinking it was time I found my 50th, another husband. It would be quite a horror, an honor to have me as a bride. Just look at my beautiful weaving. It's so light, so delicate. You'll never want to leave my little nest.
It is a lovely web, but my heart is elsewhere, I'm afraid.
Oh, drat! I mean, the loss is yours. I'm sure you'll change your mind once you consider the advantages.
This music is something.
Yeah. Is she a hustler at a pool hall?
I was trying to just look at what was in the web here.
That scrap of paper blew into my web from those books over there.
Okay.
The wind just thinks it can deposit anything here.
A black widow is sitting in her web. She has long legs and an hourglass on her belly. She gives Alexander a knowing look.
So I assume we need that piece of paper. I don't know how we would... Like, surely we can't just grab it, right? How do I exit this screen? Okay. I'm just gonna... Just for fun.
Alexander investigates the intricate spider's web in the corner. The spider who lives there is not amused. Alexander feels the tiny pinprick of the spider's bite and the slow burning of her poison.
Whoops!
Tickets only. Next.
Why do you think they call her a widow?
I mean, yeah. Oh, and sadly, that is, we will have to leave it for the week. But we made some good progress. Honestly, I was worried we might not make it off the starting island. I certainly didn't expect to get past the guards on the Isle of Wonder. It's pretty good. And we got lots of things to investigate next time. The Black Widow. We got... I assume we could make some amount of progress on the Sacred Mountain. And we still have not been to the Isle of the Beast. So that'll be fun. Oh, thank you for that follow. Welcome. So there's my schedule and also Unsecret Crush's schedule. She does her own streams, and I often hang out there and be a stream ghost in the background, as she has been doing on my streams. So she'll be streaming on Monday. Are you gonna...
I'm still thinking about that. On Monday, I will be streaming a video game. It will be either Persona 3 or it will be Genshin Impact. Because there's a lot of Genshin Impact stuff that I want to get into now that I finished the event.
Yeah. So one of the two. In general, she's been playing Persona 3 on Mondays, but not always. Just kind of depends on how much Genshin stuff. And then on Thursday, she usually plays Genshin Impact. Both fun games.
Yeah.
And then on Tuesday, I will continue Gabriel Knight 3, Blood of the Sacred, Blood of the Damned, and things are getting interesting there.
Sure are.
This week's stream was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where things go next. I'm also excited to hopefully get back to that very complex map puzzle situation. Also, I missed it, but somebody mentioned, Joe's Here For You mentioned Police Quest 3, which Jane Jensen also worked on. That came up in chat on the Gabriel Knight stream this week, and I might be tempted to play that one. I've always been a little curious about the Police Quest games, but like, I don't know if it's really going to be my thing, but I might have to play that one. Police Quest 1 through 3 are a trilogy. Okay, interesting. But yeah, I'll definitely have to think about that at some point. And then a week from today, we will continue King's Quest 6. And right now, I'm looking at who we could raid here. Thanks, y'all, for hanging out. Appreciate y'all being here. There's a point-and-click remake of the first one. Is that... like, I know Sierra did their own remakes of the early text parser games. Did they do their own remake of Police Quest 1 as well? Okay, yeah. Neat. Yeah, I found... I was excited to remember that I had the King's Quest collection because I was pretty sure that had the remake of King's Quest 1 on it, and I was correct, which means I can now play that. I've never played the point-and-click version of King's Quest 1, so I might try to do a little bonus stream of that one at some point. It looks pretty interesting. It's more of like... it's kind of similar in visual style to the fourth game, and it's a fully point-and-click interface, so I know some of the puzzles are like have minor changes and stuff like that. Oh, it's still text parser, that one. Okay, interesting. Okay, but it looks nice and is a bit more forgiving. Right. Click to move, but puzzles are text. Okay, fascinating. We might just do an animal stream because we got a late start, and I'm ready for dinner. So let me see what kind of animal friends we could visit. We got some exciting action over on our chicken life, so let's see that. Good news, I remembered on the first try which way to type the slash when I'm doing a raid. I think I got that right. There we go. So thanks again, y'all, for hanging out. Appreciate y'all being here. I hope you have a nice weekend, and I hope we'll see you around sometime. Bye, y'all. Take care.